My last fucking meal for the week. I'm in Mississippi, and I'm also on day one of my fat fast, but this video isn't really going to talk about that because there's really nothing to talk about yet. To make sure I don't step in shit. So I'm in the dog walking area. So the truckers have inspired people around the world, the Canadian truckers. And I just gotta say, it's a shame that we're just now late to the party, so to speak. And I don't know that we're going to organize a convoy here in the United States. You know, protests from truckers in the past have typically been small and disjointed. First of all, in order to even participate in what the Canadians are doing, you have to be an owner-operator. Most big companies as a whole, or even smaller companies, you know, aren't really participating in such things. Second thing you got to ask is, given the recent 180 on mandates that has happened, particularly with mask mandates, I don't know that you're going to accomplish much with a large protest here in the United States. You know, it seems that people, I don't know how you would structure it in such a way as to get any kind of, you know, result. When you see the backlash that's coming out against the Canadian truckers and the hardcore crackdowns and the mainstream media slamming us, I don't think you understand exactly what kind of fire you're playing with. So I would be very careful, because if you managed to unite all the truckers in the United States in a common cause by demonizing us, making unfounded claims about our preferences and our political leanings, and I can tell you there's a diverse political representation, you know, about racial lines. This is probably the most multicultural industry there is. So if you're somehow thinking all of us truckers are hailing from one race, I'm here to tell you that anybody, regardless of race or gender, is more than welcome and able to succeed in the trucking industry if you have the skills. And the skills are the ability to put up with a whole lot of horse shit. You know, so, and unfortunately a lot of people can't put up with a whole lot of horse shit. But that being said, you know, the media and the left that seem to be demonizing truckers, you know, and trying to pigeonhole us into the same divisive themes that you guys have been practicing this entire fucking time, just isn't going to cut it, you know. We tend to, as truckers, like freedom. We really do this to support our country and to support our own freedoms and to support ourselves, you know, because financially speaking, if done right, trucking can lead you to a nice middle class life. But you're making a lot of sacrifices for such things, you know. 9 times out of 10, you're giving up your family, your friends, your loved ones, and you're coming out here and you're working. Or even if you're, you know, doing the local thing, you're still busting your ass 70 hours a week. Now it's gotten a little better. There's a lot more casual and part-time positions that have come up as they realize they just can't work us to death, you know. And even to me, the option to be a casual driver is on the table. Like at any time, if I want to come off the road, assuming I pass my physical shit, I can in fact get out here and be a casual driver, as in once a month come out and drive for a week or two and then go back and have another month off. So they've gotten a lot better with home time and all of that other stuff that, you know, we've been complaining about over the years. But if you start making us the demons, the bad guys, if you start treating us like second-class citizens, you don't understand. It's more than just about what, you know, the truckers that are blocking fucking bridges and interfering with trade between two countries like they are. We don't have to just take it. We can literally at any time park the truck, and that's not just owner operators, that's company guys. There was already an 80,000 driver shortage before you guys started fucking with us. So, and I think because of what's happening up in Canada is why we're seeing all these mask mandates disappear, with the exception of your children. Apparently they're the last to get their rights back, even though they're the first to be, you know, the lowest risk of this whole thing. But I don't want to get too deep into that. But needless to say, you know, we've said when, you know, and as I've been out here and realizing that once I got out of New York and, you know, a few of these other states, which the media is hyper focused on in terms of, you know, this whole mandate debate. But I've come to realize that it's just not like that everywhere here in the United States, which is why I don't think you'll see what's going on in Canada happening here. Canada, they crack down hard all over the place. Some of the most, you know, they made New York look like a free state almost with some of the shit they did in Canada. But we're seeing, you know, some preemptive, you know, backing down, I would say, from those who want to engage in tyranny over the rest of us. And it's good that, you know, I'm very proud of Canada, you know, and I'm very impressed. And I honestly, given the way y'all vote up there, did not think that this level of, you know, fighting for your freedom could ever take place up there. And so you all have proven me wrong up there in Canada for sure. I always thought you were one step behind us in terms of freedom. But it turns out you're leading the fucking way, because here in the United States, I don't think we could even organize a thing like what you guys are doing. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe there's something in the works I don't know about. But the reason that these large-scale convoys have failed in the past is usually we can't agree on shit here. You know, I mean, truckers are up each other's asses out here a lot of the times, and, you know, it's not very often we're united for a cause out here. And, you know, the political divide and all of that other shit that's going on in the world and in our country in particular extends into trucking because, like I said, you have a very diverse, multicultural group of people. You know, you have all religions represented here. You have all races represented here. You have all genders, which is a more recent phenomenon because not too long ago, you know, the males were overwhelmingly represented in the trucking industry, and that has changed since I've come on board. A lot more women have become comfortable coming out here and working in the industry, and that's a good thing, you know. But what the elites fail to fucking realize is if you make us the enemy, it's not hard for us to quit and go do something else. If you come up with more authoritarian rules and regulations to destroy us and our lives and take away our freedoms, take a good look at what's going on in Canada, because if that happened in the United States, all the cities would run out of everything. You know, you think Bear Shells Biden had an effect. Wait till you see what happens when the majority of American truckers park their trucks. And they don't have to park it on the White House lawn to have a fucking impact. We just simply got to stop doing it. It's really, you know, and the same thing in Canada. You can fucking tow their shit. You can give them 10 years in prison like they're talking about. You can do all of that stupid shit. At the end of the day, no one else is going to jump in that truck and cart your shit to your city. So I hope you like paying $12 for strawberries up there in Canada or whatever the fuck your insane prices are. And your shelves are going to have... And this had an impact here in the United States. There's plants that shut down. I didn't personally run into it with what I've been hauling, but I've heard about some of the auto plants and stuff. Actually, I did personally run into it. There was a load of tires I was supposed to take, and that ended up getting put on hold, I believe, due to a plant shutdown. So, you know, these are all things that I don't think the elites really understand. They just assume that they're going to keep going to the store and shit's going to be there. Well, no matter how much money and power you may have, you got to forget, you can't forget that there's two sides to this, and we need each other. You know, if you keep shitting on conservative types and rural people and taking a shit on them, and, you know, and understand that those are the people that create the things that you buy, that transport them to your stores in your big cities, which without these supply lines would be unable to sustain and exist under the current form. You know, you got to understand that everything that you have, that whether it's delivered to your door or whether you go to Walmart to buy it, came on a truck and was created by the working class, by, you know, people that work hard, they sacrifice, all because they want a piece of the middle class life, which has been torn from them over the past 2 years. And then you wonder why there's a massive labor shortage in general, not just a driver shortage. I believe our protest here in the United States was the Great Resignation. A lot of people want to cite millennials and all of that, but I'm one of the ones that jumped in on that, taking a year off, you know, because I didn't want to work. I couldn't stomach working for the fucking people that are trying to take everything away from me. I couldn't stomach raising tax revenue so that our president and Congress can throw it all away. And, you know, and at the end of the day, that option's always on the table for me. If I don't like what's going on to a big enough degree, I'm gonna fucking bail. You know, I'll just go do my thing and raise them. I'm debt free. I can live a minimalist life and make just enough money to get by. And it turns out that's far below, in my situation, what it would take to sustain these elites and these governments in their overreach. You know, if people aren't making things and people aren't delivering things, our system collapses completely. And it's so obvious. I mean, there's things that I would love to buy right now now that I have money, that I just can't get because they're not available. You can't fucking buy them. The supply chain, it has been disrupted by our stupidity over the past 2 years. And I think the elites are starting to understand that, and I think the Canadian Trucker Freedom Convoy, so I'm going out on a limb trying to say this shit out and see if I get fucked with by YouTube for it. I think that convoy has just shown the elites a little bit of how bad things will get if they keep pushing for more power, more restrictions, and to take our rights away. I think by and large, based on what I've personally seen since I left New York, is most of the country just wants to get back to normal. You have a few odd stragglers that are still putting the face coverings on, and you have a few businesses here and there that still have signs in the windows, and then of course you've got the healthcare industry, which will be fucked up for years to come probably from this. But that being said, you know, you gotta keep in mind, I think everyone's done with the pandemic except for the media and elites. There's those few holdouts that just want to grasp that little bit of power, attention, and money by continuing to focus on these things. And that's another success of the trucking industry, or the truckers. That's another success of the truckers up in Canada, is they have taken, you know, they've taken the spotlight off of the COOF and put it onto the protest itself, and put the spotlight on Trudeau and those who are politically like them, and we have many of those here in the United States on both the federal and local level, and shown the world that this is what they did. They showed the world, you know, they pulled the curtain back and showed the corruption and tyranny and just the complete contradiction, and how you cannot trust these politicians and elites because they don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about your kids. They don't give a fuck about anything except power and wealth. And they already have all of that, but it's for some reason it never fucking is enough. That, you know, they won't be satisfied until, you know, all of us are in poverty and they're at the top. You know, I don't understand why we can't just fucking work together to make everyone's life better. But that doesn't seem to be on their agenda anytime soon. So, I don't know. Those are my thoughts. I don't think we're going to see a protest that will remotely equal what the Canadians have done. I do not think that we'll get anywhere near the numbers or the results that the Canadian protests will here in the United States. I would love to be proven wrong on this. You know, they tried to bait, for some reason, the truckers into starting a convoy at the Super Bowl. Mainly because that would piss off most people, I guess. You know, for people who give a shit about mainstream media and sports world at this point, given how destroyed that's become. You know, these are escapist activities that political ideologies have taken over, that, you know, and that's the same thing with Hollywood and mainstream entertainment. Like, they're now bastardizing one of my favorite you know, fantasy settings, and that's Token, with all of that stupid shit that Amazon's doing. And it's all corporate horse shit, you know. We want to escape politics. We want to escape ideology when we participate in, you know, sporting events, or we participate in entertainment and Hollywood and all of that shit. But, you know, they want everything, I feel like. They want us to have shitty lives where we're beholden to the elites, and we don't get to enjoy any aspect of it or be happy, because as long as we're miserable and pissed off and divided, they can continue their reign. And that's what I'm seeing being undone by the protests in Canada. But wow, I am just impressed at how far the tyrants that are willing to take this when they go after truckers. And that, I've heard everything from going after their families and their kids, arrest them. Some of the tyrants here on this side, Whitmer over in Michigan, offered to go over with heavy equipment and wreckers, and Biden himself wanted force to be utilized against one of the most peaceful and effective peaceful protests I've ever seen in my lifetime. And, nothing was burnt to the ground, nothing was defaced, nothing was, it was a very well-behaved, peaceful protest that was highly effective, and it did disrupt some things, and it should. And these are ways that's the only way you get results. If you just go and you don't do civil disobedience and risk getting arrested and risk getting fines and all the other threats that they do, if you don't stand up to that, they don't give a shit. If you just stay behind their little protest zone and do nothing to interrupt the flow of money, they could give two shits what you're saying. You could stand out in front of the White House with a sign all day, So, and it's ironic, and I think the veil has been lifted to the point where a lot of people now see the tyranny, and see through the hypocrisy and the bullshit that people have been using and abusing this whole 2 years in our situation to just, they've taken advantage of us. And I think that's coming to an end, and that's largely based not only on what's going on up in Canada, but from what I'm seeing out here as I travel once again in living the nomadic life, as I once again, get outside the bubble that we often find ourselves in, to where, in New York, I think if I was still there, I'd still have this massive black-pilled, look and nihilism that just was completely taking things over for me. That has subsided since I've been out here. I don't think I've ever been this happy to be out here. That given everything that happened in New York and everything that's happened for the past 2 years, it has been uplifting despite the shortcomings. Yeah, there's some shit that's not on the shelves. There's some things I can't do now, simply because of supply and demand. But this past weekend, instead of making a podcast, I went out in South Carolina. I went to a mall, and it was actually not too bad. It wasn't dying. It was full of people. The majority of people weren't wearing anything on their face. There were a few businesses that had signs in their windows, and there were some employees that were still being forced by their employers to do all of this shit. But I think over time, as people once again get comfortable not putting the thing on their face, that I think over time that'll get better. But I think we're still a ways off from that being the case. I still think, it'll be another year or two before we're anywhere near 2019 in terms of normalcy. But I do have hope that we're going to get there now. I do think we've taken steps in the right directions. We'll see. There's still a whole lot of stupid tyrants between us and freedom again. And while I don't think we have all of our freedom back yet, I've seen signs that we're getting there. So I hope we actually get there all the way. That being said, we're probably going to end up in a war pretty soon. But I'm not really talking about that yet. I'll wait until it happens. because I can't trust them that the media is being objective about that and what it's reporting. Yeah, I think I'm gonna get back in the truck. As far as me being out here on the road, like I said, I didn't get anything done over the weekend. I fucked around with music and kind of just had a day to myself where I didn't do anything because I was on my reset. And I don't know, maybe a podcast on top of making videos and trucking is too much on my plate. Not to say I'm not going to do podcasts in the future, but they're not going to be regular anymore because of just how much work I'm doing out here. It's shaping up to be another 70-hour week, which means another reset next weekend, and I might be too tired to fuck around with a podcast. We'll see. But that being said, it's day one of my fat fast. For those of you who are unfamiliar, I'll be drinking coffee, drinking water. There will be up to 800 calories of heavy cream in my coffee consumption. And then if I have electrolyte issues, particularly with salt, because that's one of the electrolytes that gets dumped fairly quickly. Basically, I'll substitute, some pork rinds for my heavy cream as my source of fat, which I know upsets some of you in thinking that it kicks you out of ketosis, but I was in strong ketosis the entire time I did that in the last fast, so I don't see any reason to do that. Plus, the results spoke for themselves. You could get into the minutia of autophagy and healing and whether or not it stops that process if you were to consume, pork rinds. But there's a negligible amount of protein in those, and I'm talking a handful. I'm not talking about eating a whole bag. Just enough to get you some extra salt and some extra, electrolytes, and it seems to get the job done, But like I said, because I'm driving a truck while I'm doing this fast, I'm going to be careful. I'm not going to overdo it. I'm not going to, I'm not going to risk being lightheaded while I'm driving the truck. So if I feel anything a bit off or whatever, so I'm not guaranteeing 5 days. I'm just making an attempt. See how long I can go while active and working, Even though most of my working is bouncing up and down in my chair all fucking day. That was the most exercise I got since yesterday. As far as the diet, I had another cheat meal. I couldn't resist. So I'm definitely falling off the wagon a bit on the keto side of things, just because of how difficult it is to cook out here at the end of a day. At the end of the fucking driving day, if I put in a 14-hour day like I have a lot, I don't feel like doing shit. Like yesterday, I got done with essentially a 14-hour day, though there was a lot of sitting because of some logistic issues. They sent me on a load that wasn't ready to pick up, so then I had to go and do that, and I did manage to cook my steak. But then after that, they gave me this load to Texas, and I ended up driving till like 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And I shit you not, I went right back in the bunk, laid my head down, fell asleep, and woke up 10 hours later. So I slept a full 10 hours of my break, which is good. I think I needed it, and I'm ready to continue to conquer this. I took this split break in the middle of my day here, because I still have another 350 plus miles to go, putting me 660 miles today, because this load's supposed to be there by the end of the day. I don't know if I'll be able to do that. Depends on traffic and whatnot, but on my way to Texas. So one of the free states that's been free a hell of a lot longer than a lot of these other states I've been passing through. But keep your chin up. If you're still in an area of authoritarian nightmarism, know that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and things do look a lot different out here than they did a year ago. No more am I walking through Loves and hearing the authoritarian 1984 voice virtue signal me about, distancing and facial shit. And, I have not heard anything about putting anything in my arm out here, even through the hiring process and none of that, other than my visit to the VA hospital and dealing with medical shit, which I know that's not the end. I still have some appointments to go to that I know they're going to push me on it again, and I'm going to be like, look, enough is enough, all right? I didn't come in here for that. I came in here for this. If I have a problem with that, I'll let you know. But stop trying to hard sell me on something. I didn't come in here for that. I have no problems with that. I've had it a few times. I'm good to go. My natural ability to fight certain things is 100% on point, given that I've pretty much been through it multiple times now. And I'm confident that if I got it again, I'll probably live. It'll suck, but I'll probably be fine. I don't think this thing that everyone's been scared of is going to be the thing that takes me out. I think it's going to be one of these fucking assholes out here that can't fucking drive, that does 4-lane changes going 85 miles an hour in fucking Atlanta. Yeah, talking to you, Atlanta, that was a regular fucking occurrence. I bet you motherfuckers were wearing masks the whole time while you were doing that shit, too. Are you kidding me? You'll do that, but you don't give a shit about who you kill on the highway? I mean, stop. Stop the hypocrisy and stupidity. If you really gave a shit, you'd go to speed limit. But you don't hear certain doctors fucking preaching that shit, do you? No problem. You can fucking go 90 miles an hour all day as long as you do all that other shit they've been trying to get you to do. Why? Because that makes money. It's all about the money. At the end of the day, that's what moves things. So, I don't know. Do you think I'm way off on this, spread of the trucker uprising across other countries? Now, some of these other countries that it's spread to, it's just adding a tactic to an already existing huge amount of protests that have been going on. It's probably an escalation in some of these countries as people start, if the only way to get corporations and politicians to listen to you is to affect the finances, stop the flow of the money. Vote with your feet and vote with your dollars is very, very effective against these tyrants. If you stop watching, the media, if you stop buying the products from the companies that continue to trample your rights and to divide everyone into, whatever category they choose, it seems to be race and gender mainly, and preferences. If you have a problem with any of that, just stop fucking giving them your money. Stop watching their shit. All right? Don't just watch it and be pissed off that they're fucking something up. Just be like, oh, no, I could see that coming a mile away. I ain't fucking doing that. Be picky. Be very picky with how you spend your time and your money, and importantly, who you work for, too. Some of these companies, they try and abuse their employees. If you're being abused, go somewhere else. Leave. Make money another way. There's plenty of ways to make money out there, people. As somebody who's been doing this for a long time and jumping in and out of trucking, I can tell you there's other ways to survive. This isn't the end-all, be-all. It's nice to be able to pile up money and have no living expenses when you're living in this truck, assuming that you did life right. Know that at any time you can stop. And that is the power. The largest power. But I think the thing that with the Great Resignation is it was a silent protest, I think, which left mainstream media and elites to speculate on why. When any intelligent person can tell you the reason why you had all of these job openings and people not going to work is it's a question of motivation. Why go bust your ass to have a lot of extra money when you can't do anything? You can't go and enjoy life. You can't You can't even go to the movies without problems. You can't go to, the Super Bowl without worrying about, certain things. You can't go to a concert. You can't go on vacation. You can't leave the fucking country. You can't get on a fucking plane. Why am I going to work 70 hours a week if I can't do shit? I'm doing this so as I want to pile up money so I don't have to fucking do this all the time. That's my fucking goal. And if I could get by being a casual motherfucker, damn sure that's what I'm going to do. That's what we gotta understand about what's been going on. It isn't people being lazy. It isn't people not wanting to work. It's you wanting them to work when you take away everything that's worth working for. That's what's going on in Western society now, is these elites and these fucking asshole politicians are making life so shitty that no one's going to want to work. They'll stay home and take your fucking stimulus checks or whatever other fucking government-controlled programs you want to fucking throw at us, instead of coming out here and making the money so that you can take all of it, and give it away to someone else and transfer wealth. But you're not transferring wealth to the poor. You're giving it to fucking corporations and fucking... it's crazy. It's crazy, this world. And it's enough to make you crazy. So, but... that being said, I'm trying to make it through the year as a nomad once again, full-time in the truck. And we'll see where I am a year from now as far as the world, as far as my goals. I'm still going to want to change my residency because while I think we're seeing a shift in, the way things have been going, doesn't mean I'm going to be forgetting who the hell did what here. All right? And you shouldn't either. You should not give these fuckers a pass just because they gave you your freedom back. Because what you've shown them by not standing up to this is that at any time, for any fucking reason, they can come in and do this again. Don't let it happen. In some states, they've made laws to not let it happen again. Our federal government, not so much. Our Congress, not so much. Our court system. They may have saved us, One of the biggest things that's being protested up north got shot down here in our court system. Barely. But that being said, I wouldn't rely on that as, that should be the last defense. If it's getting to the courts to get shot down, then we fucked up already, and we need to change that, I think. That's just me. If you want your freedom and you want your normal life and you want to, most of all, be left the fuck alone, you're going to have to take steps to make sure this doesn't happen again. And that includes trying to hold these politicians who have been doing this to us accountable. Do not let them distract you. Don't forget what was done these past 2 years and who did it. And that's people on both sides in some cases. Though I definitely saw a stronger, more tyrannical, more divisive approach from the left than I did the right. Not to say that there aren't bad people on the right. I'm a libertarian, by the way, so that's me. I believe in voting with your feet and your dollars. I believe that the protest up north, more than anything, is a libertarian protest. Let the market decide. And that's what we're seeing up there. Leave us alone. If you want money and power, really all you got to do is leave us alone and let us have our illusion that we can somehow ascend to your level while working our whole life and getting in debt up to our eyeballs. I mean, all this previous shit that stood in the way of us being successful to that level in life, you were doing fine with the subtle shit. What you did the last 2 years is you got fucking greedy and you got fucking stupid at the same time, which is a horrible combination. So now you're at risk of fucking it all up to the point where we're never going to be the same again. Stop it. Quit dividing us. Quit destroying our lives. And then maybe we'll come out here and haul your shit for 70 hours a week, for years and years and years, maintaining the status quo that you apparently weren't happy with, that you're going to burn it all to the ground like you have. Stop it. Stop that shit. You know, live your life. Find something to be happy about. Find a goal. You know, find meaning. And don't let politics be your meaning. Don't let ideology and activism be your reason for existence. That's a hollow, unhappy existence. Find something to enjoy about life and go for it, you know. Because if you don't do that, you're going to get in the same rut I got in New York, which is miserable all the time, unmotivated, self-medicating to the point where I had to quit drinking again. These are all things that were the result of not having meaning, not having purpose, not having goals. And it wasn't that I didn't have goals. It's like I didn't think I could get them. I didn't think they were achievable under the current regimes. So, and maybe they're still not, but at least I'm still trying. Because if I stop trying, what's left? What's left in life? I don't know. But what the fuck do I know? Because I'm not an expert. I'm just an asshole. I'm sitting here trying to make my way through life. Same as you. I don't know where I'm heading after Texas. They'll probably bounce me around Texas a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. But I have a much better picture of what's going on in this country now that I've been out here again. And I can tell you, if you're watching YouTube and you're watching mainstream media and you're watching social media, you're not getting this picture. You need to get out and travel a bit and see the rest of the country. Get outside your bubble. How do you expect to know what's going on if you never leave the city you're in or the state that you're in? You know, and I'm not talking about a 2-week vacation here and there, because you end up going to another corporate destination usually. I'm talking about go through some town you never fucking heard of and see how they're living. You know, go to their cafe, listen to the locals at the diner. You know, these are all things that you could do. You know, walk through their mall. See how they're living. See, you know, are they buying shit? Are the stores fucking empty? Or, you know, is there a bunch of vacancies? How's the economy doing in these places? And from what I'm seeing out here, the freer the state, the less tyranny a state's doing, you know, the better their economy is functioning. Just saying, from what I'm seeing. You know, and there's only so far we can go with that. I hope that the government has realized we also need to start making shit here in the United States again. That we can't rely on China. We can't rely on all these other fucking countries to do our dirty work for us. Otherwise, there's going to come a point where these other countries aren't going to want to pay somebody $4 a day to make your shit. And that's generous. That's like a big wage in some of these places. You know, to make your clothes and your fucking gadgets and your, you know, all of that shit. All of that shit isn't made here. And that's why we're running out of it. That's why you can't buy a PlayStation 5. That's why you can't get a graphics card. Because we're not doing any of that shit here. That's the problem. You know? And we'd have a lot bigger middle class if we made shit here. That's a whole other topic. I don't want to get started at. But quit fucking with truckers, because without us, you ain't gonna have shit. No jack shit. Whatever you can make in your town is all you're gonna have if you fuck with us. Stop fucking with truckers. Leave us alone. Let us live our lives, and fucking, for fuck's sakes, let us have our fucking freedom. Let our people, our friends, our families, our loved ones all have their fucking freedom and make life worth fucking working for again. Because if you take away all of this shit and you make everything suck, including our escapist activities or entertainment or fucking games and all of that, if you make all of that go to shit, we're not gonna want to come out here and do this. We're not gonna want to fucking work our ass off to get nothing at the end of the day. You've already taken our ability to buy fucking house and all of that other shit away from us by the time most people are my age. You know, the vast majority of people I know in my age bracket are either in debt up to their eyeballs or can't fucking buy anything because they're in debt up to their fucking eyeballs. They have to rent, they have to live like shit. And that, you know, I'm not even looking at home ownership at this point just because of the prices and what I would have to go through to even make something like that happen. Plus, I like wandering anyway. You know, it's insane how shitty you've made everything else, and yet you still want us to fucking do the work. You still want us to put in the 70 hours a week. I think you're fundamentally... We're not going to just do this because you want us to, you know. We do this because we want to. We do this because we have goals. We have things we want out of life. And if you take those things away and still think we're going to haul your shit to fucking Walmart and your store in your big-ass cities, you got another thing coming, all right? Keep that in mind. We don't need to park our trucks on a bridge or in the lawn to protest this. All we got to do is quit. That's all we got to do. And if one thing truckers know how to do, it's one of the first things I learned in this industry, is how to fucking quit. And that is straight up. In fact, I've seen 2 drivers packing their shit and leaving, you know, since I've been out here. You know, they're talking to me about it and saying why they're leaving and how they got stranded to this and you know, how they aren't getting paid right, or they aren't, you know, there's all kinds of shit. We know how to quit. You know, I worked for 11 different companies in my first 3 fucking years in this industry. Trust me, if we don't want to fucking haul your shit, we can just stop. And if we stop, guess what? All that shit that you like, all that shit that you want, all the food that you want to eat, all the better things in life, they don't get to where you're at. That's right. Yeah. Now, you still got Bezos and Amazon, but they have a lot of truckers too. So does Walmart. And if those truckers get to the point where they're like, fuck you. So the question is, how close to that edge do you want to get when you're taking away our freedom? So I'd say the chances of us catching up with the Canadians, who really made us look like shit here in the USA, in my opinion. This should have been something that we did long before Canada got around to it. And we should have did it hard in the tyrannical states. You know, if I would have had my way back when this bullshit was at its peak here in the United States, is I would have taken states like California, New York, Oregon, basically the whole West Coast, and I would have just not delivered there, ever. And if every trucker did that, I'm pretty sure they and gave them the same list, you know, stop fucking with our freedom, respect the Constitution, you know, all of these basic rights that we should have always had and not been dangled over us, do as you're told or else, or we're taking all of this away. If we'd have just did that to begin with, and then just went to the free states and did business in the free states, you know, some of which, like South Dakota, for example, was free from start to finish, barring a few localities and businesses that pushed you into the shit. But on a state and federal level, those states didn't skip a beat for freedom. You know, I was able to walk around in 2020, 2021, and definitely now in 2022 in these states and not have a problem. So, and what you would see is all of those states that were tyrannical, they would fail. People would leave them. People did leave a lot of them. And their economies would crumble. Their industries would fall apart. And a lot of those people would move and probably fuck up the politics of the states that they're moving to. But, you know, at least it'd take a little while. But at the end of the day, that's not enough. People need to start thinking about who they're putting in power. I don't care if you're a lefty or a righty. Corruption's on both sides. If you don't carefully vet the person you're voting for, if all you do is check along the party lines, then you're just setting us up for another scenario like the last 2 years. You know? But that's it. This is just my fucking humble trucker opinion, at least while I'm a trucker. Have a nice motherfucking day and shit. And I just want to say once again to Canada, good job. Good fucking job. You know, it's nice seeing people like Trudeau fucking squirm, and it's nice seeing the mainstream media show their true colors like they are both here in the United States and in Canada. And the things that they're saying about us, you know, it's ridiculous. You ever heard of the term, don't shit where you eat? Well, You see this fucking thing I'm sitting in? It's the only reason you can eat. Unless you go out and have your farm somewhere, which I doubt. Most of these elites and these fucking journalists and these worthless fucks, you know, I'm telling you, you're not bringing any value to the world with this bullshit, with your CNNs and all of that. No, we could live life without you, you know? But you cannot live life without us. And there's not a big line of fucking, you know, progressives ready to hop out here and take our place, you know. But we'll see how far they want to take it. Pretty soon, your military will probably be the next step, hauling your shit once they alienate the rest of us. You know, fuck you, Trudeau, by the way. Fuck you, you fucking worthless piece of shit. And the things that you've said about truckers up there. I did Canada for 3 years, and I can tell you the truckers up there are the same as the truckers here. All right? We all have the same complaints. We have the same wants and needs, and and the same reason for being behind the fucking wheel in the first place. You know, and it is a service to the country. We are essential. We're probably, in my opinion, truckers are the most essential fucking job in any country nowadays, living in modern society. Without us, all the other systems fail. Without us, law enforcement has no equipment, has no fucking food, has, you know, food being the biggest thing, you know, it has nothing to spend money on. It probably has no money as a result. You know, buildings don't get built. Things don't get made because of us. Manufacturing plants have to shut down because they can't get all the raw materials or parts that they need to make shit, for the very few manufacturing plants left here in the United States anyway. Nothing functions. The medical system, you don't get any of your medicines, you don't get any of your, you know, things that you put in your arm, you don't get any of that shit without us. We are the foundation that your house of cards is built on. Do not fuck with us.